Benji Adoit, welcome to the Sacred Grove, place of learning, place of teaching, place of connecting to spirit. And we Druids like nothing better than what we call colloquies, which is discussions of issues and ideas that affect our lives. Today, I'd like to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah basically tells the story of two cities right next to each other that were going through a moral breakdown. And rumor had gotten to Yahweh, the Jewish God, about this. And so to confirm, he sends two messengers, two angels, down to the city. And they appear in the city in the form of two men. They end up at the house of a guy named Lot. And while they are at Lot's house, all of the men of the town show up outside Lot's house and demand that these men be sent out into the street so that they can know them, which is our word that we use in our translations because we don't want to say things like rape and have sex with. But they're asking to have them sent out so that they can rape them. Lot tries to dissuade them by offering his two daughters to be raped instead, but they won't go for that. And the upshot of it is the rumors about Sodom and Gomorrah confirmed. God rains down hellfire and brimstone and basically destroys the towns. Now, what the fundamentalist Christians will say is that this story is about gay sex, and God got so mad about gay sex that he rained down fire and brimstone. First of all, it wasn't about sex at all. It was about rape. And this was actually something that was relatively common in the ancient times. When an enemy was defeated, the absolute most humiliating thing you could do to him, the way to show that you had absolute power over your enemy, was to rape him. It actually still happens in warfare today, sadly. But that's what the townspeople were trying to do, is have these strangers come out, treat them like the ultimate enemies, and treat them with the ultimate humiliation of being raped by the men of the town. A gang rape, a violent gang rape. The Jews were told by their God that they had once been strangers in a strange land, and that one of the things they were admonished to always do is to treat strangers in their midst with hospitality and with generosity and with care. These people were denying their entire history, denying the admonition of their God, and denying where they came from, which is why it was such a serious thing. It had nothing to do with male-to-male sex. It was about rape, and it was about violating an admonition from their God. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah mentions women and children in the town, so that's a detail that makes it pretty irrational to think that all of a sudden the men in town turned gay. Everything that science teaches us now about sexuality also indicates that that's a pretty silly interpretation of this story. All through history, whenever this story is quoted by Jewish scholars, it talks about the issue of mistreatment of strangers. And in fact, one of the greatest rabbis who ever lived, Jesus himself, Jesus of Nazareth, used this story this way. He was sending some of his apostles out to share with towns the good news that the Messiah was imminent. He told his apostles that if they went into a town as strangers and they were mistreated in that town, that town would suffer a fate worse than the fate of Sodom and Gomorrah. Jesus never said anything about gay sex in his discussion of Sodom and Gomorrah. In fact, Jesus never said anything about gay sex during his entire lifetime, although he had lots to say about unhealthy heterosexual sex, which doesn't mean that Jesus didn't love heterosexuals. It just means that they needed more supervision. It's not gay people that are sodomites. It's the right-wing fundamentalist, homophobic gay haters that are the true sodomites. And the gay people? Well, the gay people are the angels that are sent into their midst to test their adherence to the admonitions of the God of Abraham. So what I would say to the right-wing fundamentalists is you need to really look at the story and what the lesson of that story and what the sin of that story is. And you need to pay attention to your own Messiah's admonition about what happens to people who commit that kind of a sin. And to the gay and lesbian people out there, I want to say, hang in there, keep being the angels that you are, keep bringing the message of tolerance and acceptance, and some of them are going to learn. Eventually they'll learn. That's our hope. Journey well, my friends, and may the blessings of the Sacred Grove stay in your hearts.